Okay. Have you ever been in like one of those situations where you know something is happening, but you don't quite realize it's happening to you?
Ooh, I like that.
Like, maybe you're at a conference and someone's like, oh, this colleague of mine is having all these problems, and then it slowly dawns on you, they're talking about me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to other people.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a great way to kind of segue into what we're talking about today,
Yeah.
which is self-locating beliefs.
Right.
So these are beliefs about your position or your situation in the world as opposed to just ordinary facts.
Exactly. And it might sound kind of simple at first, but as we'll see, it leads to some really, really deep philosophical questions.
Absolutely.
And we're not just making this up. There's actually a really great entry in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy on self-locating beliefs.
Yeah, that's one of our main sources for today's deep dive.
Right. And what's cool is that this isn't just for philosophers in some ivory tower, you know. Oh, no, this is something that affects all of us and how we understand ourselves in the world and even how we communicate with each other.
Exactly.
So, listener, our mission, if you choose to accept it,
Okay.
is to understand why philosophers think that these self-locating beliefs are a distinct and important category of belief.
Yes.
And then to kind of lay out the different ways of thinking about them.
The major ways, yeah.
And we promise to keep the jargon down to a minimum and really focus on the kind of aha moments that make this topic so fascinating.
Exactly.
So how about we start by kind of unpacking this idea with a few classic philosophical thought experiments.
Perfect. Yeah. Philosophers love thought experiments.
They
They
do.
love thought experiments.
Yeah.
So let's jump into one.
Okay.
One of the most famous ones is by John Perry, and it's called The Messy Shopper.
Oh, yeah.
And in this scenario, John Perry's in a grocery store,
Okay.
and he sees a trail of spilled sugar.
Oh, okay.
So he's following it, trying to find the culprit,
Uh-huh.
the shopper with the torn sack, who's making this mess. He's going up and down the aisles. The sugar trail is getting bigger and bigger.
No.
And then suddenly, it hits him.
Oh.
He's the one with the torn sack.
Oh, the facepalm moment.
Facepalm moment.
Right.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so what Perry points out here
Yeah.
is that before that moment of realization, he believed that the shopper with the torn sack was making a mess.
Right.
And he was right.
True.
But he didn't believe that he was making a mess.
Exactly.
And that's a crucial distinction
Yeah.
because that's the belief that finally stops him from continuing this fruitless search
Yeah.
and gets him to deal with his leaking bag.
Right. He's no longer searching for someone else. He's like, oh, it's me.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
So, and this brings us to kind of a key point here,
Yeah.
which is that this change in belief isn't really captured by what philosophers call non-indexical descriptions.
Okay.
So these are descriptions that don't rely on words like I hear now
Right.
to pick out a particular person or time or place.
Yeah.
So it's not just that he came to believe John Perry is making a mess, because he could have believed that already
Right.
and still been searching for the messy shopper.
Yeah.
Similarly, he could have believed that the unique bearded philosopher in Safeway is making a mess.
Okay.
But again,
Right.
that's not the belief that got him to stop.
Yeah. It's got to be that I.
Exactly. It's got to be the I.
Right.
And this is where Perry introduces this notion of essential indexicals,
Okay.
which are these words like I hear now
Right.
that seem indispensable for describing these kinds of beliefs.
Right.
The belief I am making a mess just has a fundamentally different impact on Perry
Right.
than a belief about some other individual, even if that individual happens to be him.
Yeah.
So, so this is one really classic way of kind of illustrating the unique character of these self-locating beliefs.
Yeah. And what I find so fascinating is that it's like so obvious when you hear it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, duh.
Yeah.
But then when you really start thinking about it, it's like
It gets really deep.
it gets really deep. And it's like, how does this actually work?
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's maybe look at another thought experiment
Yeah.
that kind of gets at this self-locating aspect even more.
Perfect.
So this one is called Lincoln's the Amnesiac in the Stanford Library.
Okay.
And this was actually one that Perry talks about quite a bit.
Okay.
So imagine you have Rudolph Lincoln's,
Okay.
and he has amnesia,
Uh-oh.
and he's in the Stanford Library,
Okay.
surrounded by all this information.
Right.
He could be reading a detailed biography of himself.
Yeah.
He could be reading a map of the library.
Uh-huh.
So he has all this factual knowledge. But as Perry argues, he still won't know who he is or where he is
Right.
until he can say to himself, this place is aisle 5 and I am Rudolph Lincoln.
Exactly. So he's not lacking knowledge about the world.
Right, he has it all.
He has all that.
But it's not connected to him.
Yeah, it's like having the map.
Right.
But not knowing where to put the "you are here" sticker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this really highlights that self-locating part, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing the facts, it's about knowing your place within those facts.
Your place within that big web of information, yeah.
Exactly. And this is where the philosopher David Lewis introduced the term belief de se.
Yes, Latin for belief about the self.
Right.
So this is an alternative way of framing it.
Yeah.
And one that kind of avoids the potential misunderstanding that these beliefs are just about your location in space and time.
Right. So it's not just like, where am I?
Yeah.
It's like, who am I?
Exactly. Who am I? What am I?
What role do I play in all of this?
Exactly.
Right.
And what's interesting here is that both Perry and Lewis, while using different terms and slightly different frameworks, are really grappling with the same underlying philosophical problem.
Right.
These beliefs that seem to be inherently tied to the individual experiencing them.
Yeah, in a way that, like, ordinary factual beliefs aren't.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've looked at some thought experiments now that philosophers love to use to illustrate this idea.
Yeah.
So what are the main arguments that they actually use to say, hey, this is a distinct category of belief, we need to take this seriously?
Yeah, so there are several key arguments in the philosophical literature that have been put forward.
Okay.
And the first one is often called the argument from ignorance.
Okay.
And the basic idea here is that you can easily imagine individuals who have all the ordinary factual knowledge about a situation, but are still ignorant in a self-locating way.
Okay, so they know all the facts, but they don't know where they fit in.
Exactly, exactly. And a classic example that philosophers love to use here is Lewis's thought experiment of the two gods.
Okay, this should be good.
So imagine two gods who inhabit the same universe. They are omniscient in the traditional sense.
Okay.
They know every true proposition about the world.
Okay, so they know everything.
They know everything.
Okay.
But Lewis asks us to imagine that neither god knows which one he is.
Okay, how's that possible?
So maybe one god's activity is throwing manna from the highest mountain.
Okay.
And the other's is hurling thunderbolts from the coldest peak.
Okay.
Even knowing all the facts about manna and thunderbolts and mountains, neither god knows if he's on the highest peak or the coldest peak.
Okay.
Or if he is the manna thrower or the thunderbolt hurler.
I mean, that is really mind-bending.
It's a mind-bending thought experiment, right?
Yeah.
But what Lewis argues is that if one of them were to learn which god they were, they would gain knowledge.
Right.
But not knowledge of any new ordinary proposition about the world.
That's so weird.
Right.
Yeah.
So this suggests that the knowledge that they lack and the knowledge that they gain isn't propositional in the standard sense.
Right? It's a different kind of knowledge.
It's a different kind of knowledge.
And the philosophers also talk a lot about Perry's example of Lingzhen's in the library, right?
Yes, yes.
He has all this information.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know where he fits in.
Right.
And we can even think about like a hiker lost in the wilderness.
Oh, really?
They might have a map. They might know all about the terrain.
Yeah.
But if they don't know where they are on that map, that's a really big problem.
It is a big problem.
And it's not just a lack of information about the world.
Exactly.
It's a lack of self-location.
Yeah, and this kind of ignorance is really distinct. And it can't just be resolved by learning more facts about the external world.
Okay, so that's the argument from ignorance.
Yes.
What's another argument that philosophers use?
Okay, so another really important argument is called the argument from difference.
Okay.
And this one focuses on how self-locating beliefs can explain differences in behavior between individuals who share the exact same factual beliefs about a situation.
Okay, so they both believe the same things, but they act differently.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And a really classic illustration that philosophers like to use here is Perry's two hikers and the bear example.
Oh, this sounds familiar.
So imagine two hikers, John and David.
Okay.
John is suddenly attacked by a bear.
Oh, no.
And David sees this happening from a safe distance.
Okay, so John's in trouble.
John's in trouble.
David's okay.
David's safe.
Okay.
Now, both John and David might believe the proposition John is being attacked by a bear.
Okay.
However, their reactions are likely to be very different.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
John is probably going to curl up in a ball.
Yeah.
And David is going to run for help.
Right.
So the most plausible explanation for this difference in behavior is that John holds the self-locating belief I am being attacked by a bear.
Right.
And David thankfully does not.
So they both believe the same fact, but it's the self-locating belief that makes John act differently.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And Perry gives another example of a professor waiting for a meeting
Okay.
that's scheduled for noon.
Uh-huh.
The professor might know and believe the proposition, the meeting starts at noon.
Right.
Well, before noon arrives.
Yeah.
But he will only get up and go to the meeting room when he forms the self-locating belief. It starts now.
Right.
So it's this temporal self-location that's directly connected to the action.
Okay.
And these difference arguments are often seen as really compelling.
Yeah.
Because they use these ordinary, everyday scenarios.
Right.
Rather than these kind of bizarre thought experiments about omniscient gods.
Right.
We don't need gods to see how self-locating beliefs affect our actions in a way that ordinary factual beliefs just don't.
Yeah, they really matter in our lives.
They really matter in our lives.
Okay, so we've talked about ignorance, we've talked about difference.
Yes.
Is there another argument?
Yes, there is a third one.
Okay.
It's called the argument from sameness.
Okay.
And this one focuses on how self-locating beliefs can capture a shared cognitive state between different individuals, even when their objective circumstances are different.
Okay, so they're in different situations, but they have this kind of common way of thinking.
Exactly. And the classic example that philosophers often use here is David Hume in 1775 thinking, I wrote a treatise of human nature.
Right.
Now imagine some contemporary individual.
Okay.
Let's call him Heimson.
Okay.
Who's under the delusion that he's David Hume.
And
he also thinks to himself, I wrote a treatise of human nature.
Right.
Now Hume's thought is true.
Yeah.
Heimson's is false.
Right.
But Perry argues that despite this difference in truth value, there's a crucial cognitive similarity between Hume and Heimson.
Okay.
They're both in a similar first-personal cognitive state.
Right. They're both like, I am the author of this book.
Exactly.
Even though only one of them is right.
Exactly.
And the philosophical literature has lots of more everyday examples of this.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the residents of a town, like, say, Kennebunkport.
Yeah.
They might be disposed to say, I'm in Kennebunkport.
Right.
Or, you know, if your pants are on fire, you might shout, my pants are on fire.
Exactly.
And there's no single traditional proposition that captures these shared states.
Yeah.
So
what philosophers find intriguing here is that this sameness argument extends beyond just belief.
Oh, okay.
Hume and Heimson could both desire to be the author of the treatise.
Right.
Or could feel proud of having written it.
Okay.
Even though only Hume's feelings would be based in reality.
Right.
So this suggests to philosophers that our traditional way of analyzing propositional attitudes, like belief, desire, fear, might be missing a key dimension when it comes to the self.
Right.
So these three arguments from ignorance, difference, and sameness really make a strong case for why we need to take self-locating beliefs seriously.
Yeah, they're not just some weird, quirky thing. They're
Right.
like central to how we understand the world and how we act.
They're central.
Okay, so let's say we're convinced.
Okay.
These self-locating beliefs, they are a thing. They are a distinct category.
Yes.
How have philosophers actually tried to make sense of them?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Like, what are the theories?
Yeah, so there are several theories that have been developed.
Okay.
But two of the most influential are by David Lewis and John Perry.
Okay, the same guys we've been talking about.
The same guys.
Okay.
So let's start with Lewis.
Okay.
So Lewis's approach focuses primarily on the content of these beliefs.
Okay.
So rather than viewing the objects of self-locating beliefs as traditional propositions, which are sets of possible worlds,
Okay.
Lewis proposes that they are properties or equivalently sets of what he calls centered worlds.
Okay, so what is a centered world?
So a centered world is basically a possible world
Okay.
plus a specific time and a specific individual
Okay.
that serves as the center of that world.
So it's like a world with a "you are here" sticker.
Exactly.
Okay.
So instead of just believing a statement that's either true or false across different possible scenarios,
Yeah.
you're believing something about your own specific location,
Okay.
both as an individual and in time
Okay.
within that scenario.
Right. So it's not just, is this true or false? It's like, is this true or false for me right now in this particular situation?
Exactly. Exactly. And Lewis argues that these centered world propositions can do all the work that traditional propositions do.
Okay.
But they give us a much better way to understand self-locating beliefs.
Okay.
He also distinguishes between what he calls boring properties
Okay.
and interesting properties.
Okay. What's the difference?
So boring properties are true of either all individuals in a world or no individuals.
Okay.
So, for example, the property of being self-identical.
Okay.
Everyone has that property.
Yeah.
Or the property of being a round square.
Okay.
Nobody has that property.
Right.
Those are boring properties.
Yep.
Interesting properties, on the other hand,
Yeah.
can differentiate between different individuals within a world.
Okay.
So, for example, the property of being the tallest person in the room.
Right.
Or the property being the messiest shopper.
Okay.
So Lewis argues that self-locating beliefs fundamentally involve these interesting, centered propositions.
Okay, so they pick out a specific individual in a specific situation.
Exactly.
Okay, so going back to some of our earlier examples,
Yes.
the messy shopper case.
Yeah.
Perry, on Lewis's account, comes to believe the property of being the messy shopper
Exactly.
in the two gods scenario.
Yeah.
Their ignorance stems from a lack of belief in a property, like being the god who resides on the tallest mountain.
Exactly.
And with the hikers, John comes to believe the property of being attacked by a bear,
Right.
while David believes the property of being a safe witness to a bear attack.
Yes.
So Lewis gives us this way of really formally capturing this subjective and indexical nature of these beliefs.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's Lewis.
Yes.
What about Perry?
Okay, so Perry, as we mentioned before,
Yeah.
offers a different perspective.
Okay,
He's not so focused on the content of the belief itself.
right.
He's more focused on the belief relation.
Okay.
That is the way in which we hold those beliefs.
Okay, so it's not so much what you believe,
Yeah.
it's how you believe it.
It's how you believe it, how you come to believe it.
Okay.
What are the cognitive mechanisms involved?
Okay.
And he introduces this notion of belief states,
Okay.
which are these kind of underlying cognitive structures
Okay.
that explain how we connect to the content of our beliefs.
Okay, so I can believe the same thing in two different ways.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what Perry's trying to capture with this notion of belief states.
Okay.
So when Perry realizes that he is the messy shopper,
Yeah.
he doesn't necessarily come to believe a brand new proposition.
Okay.
He might have already believed the proposition John Perry is making a mess.
Right.
But what changes is that he enters a new belief state.
Right.
Something like an I am the messy shopper state.
Okay.
And this state connects him to the proposition in a different way,
Right.
in a more direct and immediate and action-guiding way.
Okay, so it's not just that I believe this fact,
Yeah.
it's that I believe it in this very specific personal way.
In this very specific way. And one of the best illustrations of this is the mirror example
Okay.
with Gennaro and the burning pants.
Oh, yeah, this sounds familiar.
So imagine Gennaro is looking in a mirror,
Okay.
but he mistakenly believes it's a window.
Okay.
He sees a reflection of someone whose pants are on fire
Okay.
and thinks that guy's pants are on fire.
Uh-huh.
He might even already believe the proposition, Gennaro's pants are on fire.
Right.
But he doesn't realize that the person he's seeing is himself.
Right. He's like, someone else is in trouble.
Exactly.
Okay.
But when he realizes it's his own reflection,
Uh-huh.
he enters this my pants are on fire belief state.
Oh.
And even though this state relates him to the same proposition,
Right.
it triggers a very different behavioral response.
Right. He's no longer just calmly observing. He's like jumping into action.
Jumping into action.
So for philosophers, the key difference between Lewis and Perry
Yeah.
is that Lewis is focused on the
content.
the content of these beliefs,
Yeah.
while Perry is emphasizing the how,
Yeah.
the mechanisms.
The mechanisms.
Okay, and
Yeah.
and both of them are really challenging this what they call simple picture of belief,
Oh, yeah, that was the dominant view.
where it's just about the proposition.
Exactly.
And they're saying, no,
It's more complicated.
it's more complicated than that.
Much more complicated.
Okay, so now that we have a better sense of like what these beliefs are
Yeah.
and how philosophers have tried to understand them,
Yeah.
what are some of the implications of this?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Like, does this actually affect how we think about other things?
Absolutely it does.
Okay, so like what?
So one area where this has really big implications is communication.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, the traditional kind of package delivery model of communication,
Okay.
where a speaker has a belief,
Yeah.
and they use language to transmit that belief to a listener.
Right.
That model runs into some serious problems when we consider self-locating beliefs.
Okay, why is that?
Well, think about it. When Muhammad Ali famously declared, "I am the greatest,"
Right.
he's expressing a self-locating belief.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want his listeners to believe that they are Muhammad Ali
Right.
or
yeah.
that they are the greatest.
Right.
He wants them to believe that he is the greatest.
Right.
So the specific self-locating belief isn't directly transferred.
Okay.
to the audience.
Right.
Or think about our example of Lincoln's the Amnesiac.
Yeah.
If someone tells him, you are Rudolph Lincoln's,
Yeah.
the speaker doesn't believe that they are Rudolph Lincoln's.
Right.
The point is to get Lincoln's himself to believe that he is Rudolph Lincoln's.
Exactly.
So this simple package delivery model,
Right.
where the belief is just passed along like a package,
Yeah.
doesn't really work for self-locating beliefs.
Okay, so what are some alternatives?
Yeah, so philosophers have proposed several alternative models.
Okay.
One prominent one is called recentering.
Okay.
And the idea here is that communication often involves the hearer adopting a belief state
Okay.
that's related to, but importantly, not identical to
Right.
the speaker's belief state.
Okay, so I'm not getting exactly the same belief.
Yeah, you're getting related belief.
Right.
That takes into account your own perspective.
Okay.
So, for example, if Andy says to Mike, my pants are on fire,
Yeah.
Mike doesn't suddenly believe that his pants are on fire.
Right.
He recenters the information,
Okay.
takes Andy's perspective,
Mhm.
and comes to believe Andy's pants are on fire.
Okay, so he's kind of translating it into his own framework.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another model that philosophers have proposed is called decentering.
Oh, okay.
And this view says that maybe only non-self-locating beliefs are directly communicated.
Okay, so the boring ones.
Yeah, the boring ones.
Okay.
And the self-locating effects arise from how those beliefs interact with the listener's own self-locating knowledge.
Okay.
So in the pants on fire example,
Yeah.
Andy is communicating the non-self-locating belief.
Yeah.
Andy's pants are on fire.
Okay.
And then Mike's own self-awareness
Mm-hmm.
allows him to grasp the significance of that fact for Andy's situation.
Okay.
And finally, there's the restriction approach,
Okay.
which says that maybe the package delivery model
Mhm.
actually works for some self-locating beliefs.
Okay.
Like, if we're all in Amsterdam and someone says we are in Amsterdam,
Right.
but it might not work for others,
Okay.
like I am David Hume,
Right.
because those are very specifically tied to one individual.
Right. So some are shareable and some are not.
Exactly. Some are shareable, some are not.
Okay, so these models are all trying to deal with this problem of how do we communicate these beliefs that are so inherently personal?
Yeah, it's not a simple problem.
No, it's not.
And the challenges don't stop at communication.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they also extend to things like decision theory
Okay.
and Bayesian epistemology.
Okay, now we're getting really technical.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit more technical.
Yeah, but let's try to make it understandable.
Yeah, let's try to break it down.
Okay.
So basically, the problem is that self-locating beliefs can change their truth value over time.
Okay.
And this creates problems for traditional ways of thinking about rational belief updating.
Okay, I'm starting to see how that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Like, if my belief is it's not noon right now,
Yeah.
well, that's going to change very soon.
Exactly.
And so how do I update my belief in a way that makes sense?
Right. So traditional Bayesian updating rules,
Oh, okay.
like conditionalization,
Yeah.
struggle to handle this.
Okay, because they're based on this idea of like, okay, I have this evidence,
Yeah.
and I update my beliefs based on that evidence.
Right.
But if the truth of the belief is changing,
Yeah.
then it's like the ground is shifting under my feet.
Exactly. It's like trying to navigate with a map that's constantly redrawing itself.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
So philosophers have proposed various alternative self-locating update schemes
Okay.
that try to adapt the principles of Bayesianism
You're right.
to handle these dynamic beliefs. And a lot of these draw inspiration from the models of communication that we just talked about.
Okay, so like recentering, decentering, restriction.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
right, so they're borrowing ideas from them
Yeah, they're borrowing ideas from those.
to try to make sense of this.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've seen that self-locating beliefs have all these implications
Yes.
for how we think about communication
Yeah.
and decision-making,
Yeah.
and even just like the nature of belief itself.
Absolutely.
But have there been any objections to this whole idea?
Yeah, so as with any interesting philosophical idea,
Yeah.
there are always objections.
Right.
And one notable objection comes from the philosopher Ruth Millikan,
Okay.
who argues that self-locating attitudes could exist even without indexical terms in our language or thought.
Okay, so we might not need I hear now.
Yeah, we might not need those.
Okay.
She imagines creatures who have unique self-names
Okay.
or other non-indexical ways of referring to themselves.
Right.
So her point is that the phenomenon itself might be more fundamental
Yeah.
than the particular linguistic tools we use.
Right. So maybe it's not about the words.
Yeah, maybe it's about something deeper.
It's about the underlying concept.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another objection comes from what's often called the just Friedge cases objection.
Okay, I've heard of Frege.
Yeah, so Frege was a famous philosopher,
Yeah.
and he discovered this puzzle
Okay.
about how different ways of referring to the same thing
Yeah.
can lead to differences in belief.
Okay.
So, for example, I might believe that Clark Kent can fly,